Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel, dear brothers and sisters. One day in mid-1975, an offer came from the French government to the Egyptian government. The European country offered assistance to research, study, and analyze the mummy of Pharaoh. The offer was warmly welcomed by Egypt. After receiving approval from the Egyptian government, the mummy of Pharaoh was transported to France. The French even held a grand reception party to celebrate the arrival of the pharaoh's mummy. The mummy was placed in a special room at the French Center for Antiquities, where it underwent research to uncover the secrets behind it. Leading scientists, surgeons, and autopsy experts in France were involved in the investigation. The lead surgeon and principal investigator in the study of this mummy was Professor Dr. Maurice Bucaille. Bucaille was a renowned French surgeon who once headed the surgical clinic at the University of Paris. He was born in Pont-l'Evêque, France, on July 19, 1920. Bucaille began his career in medicine in 1945 as a gastroenterology specialist. In 1973, he was appointed as the family doctor for King Faisal of Saudi Arabia. Not only were members of King Faisal's family among his patients, but members of the family of then Egyptian President Anwar Sadat were also known to have been on the list of those who sought his services. His name gained prominence when he wrote a book titled The Bible, the Quran, and Modern Science, originally published in French as La Bible, le Coran et la Science in 1976. Bucaille's interest in Islam began to emerge when he delved intensively into the study of biology and its connection to various religious doctrines. Therefore, when the opportunity arose for Bucaille to research, study, and analyze the mummy of Pharaoh, he dedicated all his expertise to uncovering the mystery behind the cause of death of the ancient Egyptian king. The final result he obtained was truly astonishing. The remnants of salt on the body of the mummy were the greatest evidence that he had died from drowning. His body was quickly retrieved from the sea and then embalmed to preserve it as a mummy. The discovery left a lingering question in the professor's mind. How could the body be in better condition than others, despite being retrieved from the sea? Professor Bucaille then prepared a final report on what he believed to be a new discovery: the rescue of Pharaoh's body from the sea and its preservation. His final report was published under the title Mummy of the Pharaoh, a Modern Medical Investigation, with the original French title Les Momies de Pharaon et la Médecine. Thanks to this book, he received the Le Prix Diane Potier-Bose, an award in history, from the Académie Française, and the Prix General Award from the Académie Nationale de Médecine, France. Regarding the final report he had prepared, one of his colleagues whispered something in his ear, saying, "Do not be hasty, for the Muslims have already spoken about the drowning of this mummy." Bucaille initially rejected this news vehemently, considering it impossible. He believed that such a secret could not have been known except through the development of modern science, using the latest and most accurate advanced equipment. Until one of them said that the Quran, which is believed by Muslims, has narrated the story of Pharaoh's drowning and the subsequent preservation of his body. That statement further confused Bucaille. He began to think and wonder, how could this be? After all, the mummy was only discovered around the year 1898, while the Quran had existed thousands of years earlier. He sat all night, staring at the body of the pharaoh, pondering over the matter. The words of his colleague echoed in his mind that the Quran, the holy book of Islam, had spoken about the story of Pharaoh's body being saved from destruction thousands of years ago. Meanwhile, in the scriptures of other religions, only the drowning of Pharaoh in the sea while chasing Moses is mentioned, with no reference to Pharaoh's body. Bucaille grew increasingly confused and continued to contemplate this. He said to himself, "Does it make sense that the mummy in front of me is the Pharaoh who chased Moses? Does it make sense that Muhammad knew this, even though it happened before the Quran was revealed? Professor Bucaille could not sleep, so he requested to be brought the Torah, Old Testament. He then read the Torah, which recounts, "The waters returned to their place, covering the chariots, the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that had gone into the sea after them. Not one of them remained." He then compared it with the Bible. It turned out that the Bible also did not mention the salvation of Pharaoh's body, which remained intact. This made him even more confused. After the restoration and mummification of Pharaoh's body, France returned the mummy to Egypt. However, there was no decision that brought him joy, nor any thoughts that gave him peace, since he received the discovery and news from his colleague that Muslims had been talking about the salvation of the body. He decided to meet with several Muslim forensic scientists. From here, the first conversation took place with Muslim researchers and scientists. He asked about the life of Moses, the actions of Pharaoh, and his pursuit of Moses until he drowned, and how Pharaoh's body was saved from the sea. Then, one of the Muslim scientists stood up, opened the Quran, and recited to Bucaille the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which mean, "So today we will save your body so that you may be a lesson for those who come after you. And indeed, many among mankind are heedless of our signs." Qunus 92. This verse deeply touched Bucaille's heart. He said that the Quranic verse made sense and pushed science forward. His heart trembled, and that tremor led him to stand before the gathered people, proclaiming loudly, "Indeed, I embrace Islam and I believe in this Quran." He returned to France with a new demeanor, different from the one he had when he left. Since embracing Islam, he spent his time researching the alignment between scientific truths and modern discoveries with the Quran, seeking any scientific contradictions mentioned in the Quran. All of his research findings were then compiled into a book titled The Bible, the Quran, and Science, originally titled La Bible, le Coran et la Science in French. Published in 1976, this book became an international bestseller in the Muslim world and has been translated into almost all the major languages spoken by Muslims around the world. His work explains that the Quran is highly consistent with science and modern knowledge, whereas the Bible is not. In his book, Bucaille criticized the Bible for its inconsistencies and questioned its authenticity and transmission. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.